number 8, Letters to Dennis, A Dedication of Love by Bob Tussle. March 9th, Dear Dennis. Continuing with the visualization. Surprisingly, with each subsequent session, I am simply able to resume where I left off the time before. This morning I saw the tumor floating as a small black box. I was in a spaceship and was able to blast the tumor with a type of sealer, completely shutting everything off from getting out or getting in. After this process, I took another beam from the ship and started to push the thing further into deep space. I'm going to propel this thing right out of my head. You know, this whole visualization thing takes a lot of concentration, and if I get even momentarily distracted, it seems to take twice as long to refocus. These images don't just pop out of anywhere, you know. I've got to create them and then maintain them and bring them to life. Then continue to make things happen without any given storyline. I guess that's pretty good because that way I can control the outcome. I feel like I have some control and it's part of my treatment for which I'm able to accept full responsibility. March 10th. Dear Dennis, basically uneventful day today, but I did want to tell you that Nurse Pat told me the whole purpose of this radiation is to eradicate the residual tumor, just get rid of it. Wouldn't that be great if it happened completely with no need for chemotherapy? Anything is possible, I guess. I'll just have to keep a positive attitude. I'm learning how to do that more and more and how very important it is. March 11th. Dear Dennis, took part in the Making Strides for Cancer walk today. I could not believe the number of people that took part in this. All the cancer survivors wore pink visors and letters that read, "I am surviving cancer." We took group photos and all gave hugs before the program began. All the survivors lined up at the beginning of the walk, and some woman sang a song about life and death which brought tears to everyone's eye. She finished, a large round of applause, and the survivors were off. All holding hands, none of us moving very quickly. But nonetheless, you could feel the determination in every one of us. Having cancer is a real challenge in every aspect of your life. No one could possibly understand how all-consuming it is until they are experiencing it themselves. And the thing is, thoughts about having cancer are always present, sometimes lesser than others, but always present. The only way to really move forward and battle cancer is to accept the diagnosis as reality. Until this can be done, no further progress can be made. Accept and move forward. March 12th. Dear Dennis, the increase in Decadron really is helping with my equilibrium problem. Thank God for that. Speaking of God's intervention, I have to tell you about my visualization this morning. As I told you before, I'm always able to resume my visualization right where I left off the time before. The box is floating in space, nothing else present except the box and black space. The darkness starts to lighten slightly, and the solid blackness turns into blue-gray cloudy mist. The sky starts to break, and something, initially unidentifiable, comes down out of the charcoal mist. The more I watch it, the form becomes recognizable as a finger. The rest of the hand slowly drops out of the sky and begins to tap the black box, taunting at it until it's balancing on the hand's index finger. The hand toys with the box, flipping it up and down, and then letting it slowly roll down the index finger until it comes to rest in the palm of the hand. At the bottom of my visualization is a rolling ocean with the moon shining down, reflecting off the surf. The rolling of the waves starts to slow and finally calms to a complete still. Up from the ocean floor emerges another hand, high above the first and then down on top of it to encapsulate the entire box. You can see and feel the might of the hands as they rub together with great power, crushing the box into dust. The hands gently open, and dust blows into the darkness of the sky, blending and disappearing into the black nothingness of space. Yes, I do believe those were the hands of God. Surgery, radiation, chemotherapy, and vitamin vitamins are all the things I can do here, but a lot of this I simply must turn over to God and have faith. March 13th. Dear Dennis, today is the day your mom goes in for her cancer surgery. Gee, Den, how much more can you take? I know she's scared, but she won't let anyone know. What a strong woman. I was really inspired after talking with her, and she told me that I was her role model. I try to only surround myself with positive people. Keeping spirits high needs a great deal of support. I am so very fortunate in this aspect. I can't imagine someone attempting to do this alone. I'm glad we all drove up to see your mom tonight. She looked tired, but she'll do great. After all, look at the role model she has. March 14th. Believe it or not, this day was basically uneventful. Did my visualization first thing this morning and had a very difficult time even finding the box. I wonder what this means. At lunch today with my friends Sue and Janet. Janet has a 5-month-old baby that comes along as well. It's so wonderful just to sit and watch the fragile innocence of that child. I hope he is able to go through life without having to confront the harshness which steals forever that virginity. March 15th. Dear Dennis, I'm thinking today about our last Sunday out with Marge and her little friend Michael. Another picture of innocence, yet unfortunately hit with some of life's difficult realities. Now 8 years old, fighting leukemia since he was 3. Sometimes you can't help but wonder about God's plan. Just faith, I guess. Everything is for a reason. Although we may not understand now, one day everything will have an explanation. To make this little boy's life more of a struggle, his father, whom he adored, was diagnosed with the same type of leukemia. I can't even try to understand how this little boy battles leukemia for 5 years, and the same type of cancer kills his father within weeks. Never even an opportunity to come home from the hospital. Dead on January 12th and buried on January 16th. So strange that these days are an exact correlation of when I was admitted to the hospital and diagnosed with a malignant brain tumor and then had my surgery. As you said, sometimes God takes one life to save another. Even though we never met Michael's dad, I'll say thank you and remember him with love. March 16th. Dear Dennis, today was relatively positive throughout the day until your haircut. Don't know why, but I had a real difficult time going with you to get your hair cut. You can't imagine how devastating it is to me to continue to watch my hair fall out, even yet after those long 6 weeks, and still wondering how long it will be before it comes back. The bald head is a constant reminder of the whole process. You know me so well and know exactly what to say to make things better. Yes, the hair loss is part of the process, and yes, now patience is needed to continue with the healing process. I never knew what people were feeling all the time I worked with hospice and cancer patients. All during that time I actually thought I was being effective as a counselor. I look back on that now realizing I hadn't a clue about what those people were going through. I guess I do find comfort, however, realizing that I did give much support, hope, and love, which, as I found out, provides a great deal of strength and encouragement. Hey, it's late. What do you say we go out for pizza? March 17th. Dear Dennis, went out to dinner tonight with Norman. It was nice to get together, and he most always treats us, which is especially appreciated now with all the medical bills rolling in. During the course of dinner, the focus on conversation revolves around cancer. Big surprise there. I could be wrong with my interpretation, but I feel Norman is either really afraid about discussing the topic or is just over the whole thing. So sorry, Norm, but life has changed greatly, and life is more than one glorious mail-order shopping excursion of fuchsia sports coat and $125 shoes from Bergdorf and Goodman. Perhaps I'm bitter, maybe jealous, or both, but nonetheless, It is unfair for me to judge someone else because of my current life situation. I love you, Norman, and I know you will understand and forgive me.